Hello folks, welcome to week 3 of virtual learning. We're going to continue on these parabolas that we've been doing. In the first week we did just y equals ax squared. Last week we did ax squared plus bx. Now we're doing the whole thing, ax squared plus bx plus c. And all that means is you have equations that have a number in front of the x squared, a number in front of the x, and a number by itself, a constant term if you remember that. Okay. Alright, so all it wants us to do for the first part of this assignment is to find the axis of symmetry and find the vertex. But I'm actually going to add and the y-intercept because we're going to need to do that to be able to graph these. And really we're doing more of that on the back side, but I'm going to show you how easy that is because we have these notes up here. When a, this number in front of x squared, is greater than 0, in other words, when it's positive, then it opens up like this picture. Okay? But if a is less than 0, which again means it's negative, I'll put that in parentheses, then it opens down like this. Okay, so the same thing, but down like that. Okay, the y-intercept is always just whatever that number is. So 0c, you can see how they have that labeled here. You don't have to plug anything in. It's just whatever that number is. Okay, then the vertex. Well, the vertex is found by taking the opposite of b, so the opposite of the number next to x, and dividing it by 2 times a. I will go through how to do that in just a few minutes, but that's how you find the x-coordinate of the vertex. Then to find the y-coordinate, we just plug that in. Now this looks like a lot of crazy stuff, but you'll get a number like 2 or -1 or etc. And then you'll just go back and plug that in for x, because it's the x value of the vertex versus the y value. Okay? And then the axis of symmetry is just x equals whatever that x value is. Okay, so maybe that doesn't make sense, but let's go through some of it. First of all, it also asks, does it have a maximum or minimum? So we could tell if a is greater than 0 and it looks like this, then that is a minimum, not a maximum. It has arrows going up. Those would be max, going up towards max, but the max is infinity. If it opens down, well then that top point, that vertex, is a maximum. So this one, with a greater than 0, means, again, it's going to open up like this. So we'll have a minimum. That's kind of the first part, okay? And the homework itself doesn't even ask you to do that part. I'm just trying to stress that, okay? Then it wants us to find the axis of symmetry and the vertex. Well, the axis of symmetry, again, is found by taking the opposite of b and dividing it by 2a. Okay, Searsmo, what do you even mean by those letters? So, again, a is the number next to x squared, b is the number next to x, and c is the constant term. So let's just write that over here. A equals 2, b equals 8, and c equals -1 because it's a minus. Okay? Okay, so the opposite of 8 is -8 divided by 2 times a, which is 2. You need to do this multiplication first. It's just order of operations that the calculator will do is a little different. -8 divided by 4 is -2. So my axis of symmetry is x equals -2. There's the answer for that part. Okay? And that is the first part of your homework today. It's switched up a little bit. If you look, it says vertex then axis of symmetry. I think once you find the axis of symmetry, that number is always that x value. So let me reiterate this. When I go to find my vertex, I know it's going to be -2 comma something. Okay? Because this number and this number always have to be the same. Now how do I find the vertex's y value? If you remember, I said up here, once you find this, you just plug it in. And by plug it in, we're saying x equals that. So we're going to plug it in right there and right there for x. So y equals, because remember f of x and y mean the same thing. 2 times, again my x is -2 squared plus 8 times -2 minus 1. Okay. Hopefully you have a graphing calculator app on your phone that you can just go to, which is what I'm going to do right now, which is why I'm wasting a little time, because my computer, or excuse me, my phone is pretty slow. It's old school. So yeah, so it's pretty slow. Let's see if I can find it here. Alright, here's my graphing calculator app. And I will just plug it in just like I see it. Okay? No thanks, I don't need to rate it. I'm going to go -2. Oops. I can't quite see it because I'm trying to look at it past you guys. Let me try this again. -2 times, I did it again. 2 times -2 My fat fingers are not helping me right now. Okay, let's try this again. 2 parentheses negative 2 parentheses squared, and then plus 8 times negative 2 parentheses, and then minus 1. And it spits out the answer for me, negative 9. Okay, so I'm going to come back here, y equals negative 9. Okay, and that is my y value of my vertex. So I'm just going to circle it up right there. Okay, now it doesn't ask me this, except for I wrote it, the y-intercept. The y-intercept is always 0, comma, well, if I plug 0 in here I get 0, if I plug 0 in here I get 0, so there it is, the c, negative 1. So again, the y-intercept is always 0, comma, c, whatever that number is out here. Okay. Alright, let's do another one together. And let's talk about, first of all, a is less than 0. A is less than 0, so the graph goes like this, and that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a maximum. Okay. Now, the axis of symmetry is x equals the opposite of b over 2a. Again, I probably should write down a is negative 1/2, b is 7, and c is negative 4. So I'm going to take the opposite of b, which is negative 7, divided by 2 times a. 2 times negative 1/2. Well, this is negative 7 over 2 times a half. Half of 2 is 1. With a negative makes it negative 1. And I get 7. Alright, so x equals 7. There's my axis of symmetry. Okay? My vertex, I know has a 7 there, and I have to take that 7 and plug it in for x. So I get y equals negative 1/2 times 7 squared plus 7 times 7 minus 4. Okay? And I'm going to plug it into my calculator again. Negative 1/2 is just negative 0.5 parentheses. I'm not sure if you can quite see that. Okay? Negative 0.5 parentheses, 7 parentheses squared, and then plus 7 times 7, and then minus 4. And it's a decimal, but that's okay. I get 20.5. So my vertex is 7, because again, that number is always there. And then what I just found after I plugged 7 in, which is 20.5. There's my vertex, okay? And my y-intercept, again, is 0, comma, in this case, c, negative 4. In every case, it's c, every time, okay? All right, so maybe pause it a second. Try number 1 and 2 below here. Remember, I want you to find max or min. I want you to find the axis of symmetry, and I want you to find the y-intercept. And if you're still struggling with this, maybe you just watch me right through it. But try it once. Try and see if you can follow this. Pause the video and try it. Okay? All right, here a is greater than 0. So we said before that that's going to give me a minimum. Versus this one, a is also greater than 0, so it has another minimum. Okay. Axis of symmetry is the opposite of b over 2a. b is 6, so the opposite of that is negative 6. 2 times. When there's nothing here, remember that's a 1. So a is 1 here. Negative 6 over 2 is negative 3. So there's my axis of symmetry, x equals negative 3. And my vertex is going to be negative 3 comma something. Go plug negative 3 in. So I've got y equals negative 3 squared. If I want to put a 1 times out there, I can do that. Plus 6 times negative 3 plus 5. When I plug that in, I get negative 4. And that is my y value of my vertex. Okay. What is the y-intercept here? Hopefully you can see the y-intercept. Okay. Sorry, didn't see that coming. Ooh, it's trying to call me. Okay, it doesn't matter. Apologies, my phone is being really dumb. And my wife is calling. She knows I'm making a video. Ugh. Alright, y-intercept is always 0, comma. Plug in the y. 5. Okay, there's that. Let's try this second problem. Alright, so we already said it's a minimum. We've got the opposite of b over 2a, which is negative negative 4 over 2 times 2. Again, my b is negative, so the opposite of that would be a positive 4. Right? The opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. 2 times 2 is 4, and of course that gives me 1. There's my x symmetry, x equals 1. And then my, again, vertex is to plug that in, so y equals 2 times 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 5. And I'm going to get 3. Okay. So my vertex is 1, 3. And as you can see over and over again, those two numbers are always going to be the same. Okay. And the y-intercept here is 0, c. There you go. Simple as that. Okay. All right. So there's that page. It's even easier in here because, again, all you need to do is find the axis symmetry and the vertex. So again, what I would do when you're working through the homework is identify A, B, and C. For the axis symmetry, go plug in negative 4 divided by 2 times 1, which is negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. Remember that that number always goes there. And then you go back and plug that in. Negative 2 squared minus 4 times negative 2 minus 2. Again, I'm plugging it in anywhere there's an x. 4 plus 8 minus 2 is 10. And there's that. Okay. You got the other three here to try out. Works the same way. Okay. All right. Let's try the back side here. We've got some graphs going on. And we're going to find multiple things here to be able to graph it. It wants us to find and graph the axis of symmetry. Okay, so axis of symmetry is that like reflective line, right? So let's go with axis of symmetry first. Okay, and that is going to be, I'm going to find it over here, the opposite of b over 2a, which is the opposite of negative 6 is positive 6, divided by 2 times 3, which is 6, and I get 1. Okay, so x equals 1. There's my axis of symmetry. I'm actually going to go do that line first. Okay, let me graph that in here. Alright, the vertex is 1, comma. Again, I got to plug 1 in here. 3 times 1 squared minus 6 times 1 plus 5. This is why we're doing all that stuff on the other page. 3 minus 6 negative 3 plus 5 is 2. So there's that. That equals 2. That gave me the y value. Alright, so 1, 2. Let's put that dot right there. I know that that's positive, so it's going to open up. But how am I going to get these other points? Well, I know I can do the y-intercept. It says find and plot the vertex. We just did that. Use the y-intercept to find 2 more points. So the y-intercept is 0, c, and c is 5. Okay, so then other point. That's what it wants us to do here. So 0, 5, right here. And look, that is 1 box away from the line. So if I go 1 box the other way, there's another point. And that is 2, 5. That's how I find another point. Okay. Now, I could keep going here and do more points, but I got what I need. Let's just do it. Graph it in. We know what it looks like. We know it goes up. What else do I need here? It says describe the domain and range. Hopefully you remember, because we've done this before, that the domain for these is all real numbers, because it keeps going left, it keeps going right, no matter what. Okay. The range, however, we said starts here and goes up. So the range is always y. When it's going up, it's greater than or equal to, and it's always the y value of the vertex. So this number right here is why I put 2 right there. Okay. It is not asking us where it increases and decreases, but on your homework, it is going to ask you to do that. So increasing and decreasing. How did we do that again? Okay, well, we had x's, and then we said if you do the left-hand trick, like so, this side goes up, so that is increasing, which means the other side is automatically decreasing. We're always looking at that right side. What's it doing? The other is the opposite, right? So it is increasing. Well, again, if I draw a little number line here, increasing gets that arrow, decreasing gets that arrow, and it's the x value of the vertex, 1, is what you put there and there. Simple as that. Okay? Alright, let's go on and try B, and then I'll have you guys try 3 on your own down below. Okay? For this one, let's see. Let's go through this kind of quickly. Axis of symmetry is x equals, again, the opposite of B is positive 2 divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. I get 1. There it is. That means my vertex. Okay, I'm going to draw that line in. It happens to be the same as the previous problem. That is not always 1. Okay, it just happens to be on these two problems. Alright, let me get my vertex here. Vertex is 1 comma, plug 1 in, I get 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 3, which is negative 4. So negative 4 is my vertex. I can go plot that right here. My y-intercept is 0 comma c, 0 c. Boy, I shouldn't say that accidentally. So I get 0 negative 3, which is right here. 1 box away. I can go 1 box away right here. And my other point is 2 negative 3. Okay? I could keep going here with more and more points. Don't need to do that. Okay? What is my domain? Well, that is all real numbers. What is my range? Well, hopefully you remember, let's graph this in, is y is greater than or equal to, again, the y value of the vertex. So negative 4. Okay? Alright, and then where is it increasing and where is it decreasing? Well, again, it's going to be x. It's going to be the x value of the vertex. And then I can go over here, draw my little number line, and again, that side is increasing, that side is decreasing, so increasing gets that arrow, decreasing gets that arrow. Simple as that. Okay? Press pause maybe. Try this last one. I'm going to try and do it in under 3 minutes so I can keep this video to 20. Okay? Press pause. Try this problem. Alright, the opposite of negative 8 is 8 divided by 2 times 1, because again when there's nothing there it means 1, and 8 divided by 2 gives you a 4. So my vertex again is 4 comma, I'm going to go plug 4 in here, 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 7 gives me negative 9. Alright, so 4, negative 9, there's my point. My axis of symmetry is right through that. Okay? Alright, what else we got? Y-intercept is of course 0, 7 because it's 0, c. So 0, 0, 7. Wow, that's not here. That's way up here. Alright, that's okay because that's 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes away. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes away. There's my other point, which is at 8, 7. Okay? And then I've got my domain, which is all real numbers. I've got my range, which is y is, well, again, this is opening up, so it's greater than or equal to, again, the y value of the vertex, negative 9. Increasing and decreasing, x and x. I'm going to have the x value of the vertex, so 4 in both places. I'm going to, again, look at this as that is going uphill, so this has to be decreasing, so increasing gets that arrow, decreasing gets that arrow. Okay? And that is the notes. Okay? The fourth 8.3b looks a lot like what we just got done with. It wants us to do the vertex and the axis of symmetry, which again, I'm going to do the opposite of b over 2a to find that. And then that number also is what goes here, and you plug it in to get the other one. And this is 0 comma c. I'm not going to even go there. You'll graph those things. You'll be able to reflect your y-intercept to get your other point, and then answer these problems down here accordingly, just like we just got done with on these notes. Okay? And that's going to be it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. It's just doing that. I'm not sure what next week is going to bring. Maybe a quiz. Maybe we'll just keep moving on. So do what you got to do to get this week done. Hope to hear from many of you. Have a good day.